Hello, friends. I hope you're all doing well and having a beautiful day. I am being roasted by this equator sun here. It is the strongest sun I've ever encountered in all my travels. And I think because they don't spray the skies here with chemtrails, the sun is stronger. It's stronger than any other sun I've encountered, even stronger than in Thailand. Anyway, we're going to talk about uh, embodying the inner child versus being childish. There's distinct differences between these two. You might have heard somebody say, if we can all just be like children, the world would be a better place. We'd have more joy, more happiness, etc. And that is a half truth. And I'll tell you why that is a half truth in a second. I really like observing children because it teaches me a lot, because I was a child once and everybody was a child at some point. Your dad was a child at some point. Can you even comprehend that? Your mom was a child at some point. Your grandfather was a child at some point. Donald Trump was a child at some point. Joe Biden was a child at some point. Everybody was a child at some point. Isn't that fascinating? The criminals locked up in prison were children at some point. So that's interesting to observe children, to see one stage of the evolution of human being, and to learn how to be like a child and how not to be like a child. How to be like a child is to embody your inner child. How not to be like a child is to not be childish. And there's two differences between these two. So let's talk about the positive aspect of being a child, the inner child, embodying the inner child. That is being full of energy, being fully present in the moment, being open to new experiences, letting go. Children let go easily, right? You can see a child crying over not having candy or losing their toy, and then like 2 minutes later they're laughing and smiling and jumping up and down, and that's something. To embody the inner child is to let go of things, is to be present, is to be open to new experiences, is to not cling and not to attach and not to hold on to things. And children in a young age don't seem to attach or hold on to things. As they grow older and older, year by year, and they get socialized and they grow older, then they begin to attach, they begin to cling on to things, they begin to live in their heads, in the past, in the future. But generally speaking, children from a very young age are very present, very here and now, let go easily, forgive easily, they don't hold grudges. I remember fighting with my friends growing up, and then really, really hating them, like really, sometimes physically fighting them, and then the next day is like nothing happened. So, as I said, as children get older, they get socialized, they grow, they're in size, they go through adolescence, and yeah, they become plagued with all the troubling aspects of being a human adult. But of course, children in and of themselves are not perfect, and they do lack wisdom. They do lack reason. They're not very reasonable. Children are not very reasonable. They do lack the wisdom of the world. They may have this innate wisdom in them, but they do lack this, wisdom of the world. That's why it's very easy to lure children to doing things that they otherwise shouldn't be doing or are not in their best interest. Pedophiles, for example, will lure kids in with candy, and they treat kids well. They give them candy, they buy them things, they really, give them attention, because children want attention. That's another thing. Children want attention because they're so vulnerable, they feel so vulnerable, and they seek for external attention. As an adult, as a human adult, if you really get your shit together, you no longer need the validation or the attention of the external, because you become fulfilled by your innate nature as God, really, as bliss. So children are always seeking for attention. They're seeking for attention. They're vulnerable. They feel vulnerable, and so you can lure them in very easily. They lack that wisdom of the world. They lack discernment. And that's how pedophiles lure in kids, right? They'll give them attention, which the children interpret as love. The child will interpret that attention as love. And then the pedophile will even, tell the child that whatever perverse sexual acts the pedophile is doing to the child is like an act of love, and the child sometimes will believe this. They will be like, oh, okay, I think you're just loving me, like you buy me candy, you give me attention, and I guess that's also how you're loving me, right? So you can easily fool children. They lack discernment. And if you look at Joe Campbell's hero's journey, it's a cycle, right? So you go through being born in the world as a child, and then the last destination of the hero's journey is to be a child again, but with the discernment and the wisdom of the world. So you go back to embodying your inner child without being childish. Another thing, like if you, for instance, to show you what childish behavior can also look like, if you want a candy and your parents didn't buy you candy, you start crying, right? Like it's the end of the world. You start crying, you make noise, you want attention. It's like for you the end of the world. I don't have candy, right? So that's childish behavior as well. Imagine you acted like that as an adult. It's a little funny, right? Because so what if you didn't get candy? So what, right? On to the next thing. Maybe you'll get candy tomorrow, or maybe you shouldn't even get candy because it's not good for you. So children don't know that. So that's why it's very easy to give children like candy. And of course, the powers that be know how easily children can be deceived. So you hijack the child's brain with dopamine, with sugars and salts and all kinds of drugs and additives in the food. Most of our food addictions to sugars, to salts, to fats and all kinds of things stem from our childhood because we're easily deceived. Our brains are easily hijacked. Our bodies are easily hijacked. And also children are very easily brainwashed. I'll tell you something. When I was I'll tell you exactly. When I was 12 years old, I was born in 91. This was 2003 when America attacked Iraq, right? I was living in the Middle East at the time, and I was brainwashed into the us and them mentality, right? So I was brainwashed into hating Jews, hating other Muslims, by the way, because I grew up in a Sunni Muslim household, so I was supposed to hate the Shia Muslims, right? I was brainwashed into all of this. And I remember going out to a protest in the streets and burning American flags and shouting, saying like, down with America, down with the Americans, we hate America. And I even wanted to go fight in Iraq, believe it or not. I was 12 years old, right? I wanted to go fight in Iraq. I wanted to fight the infidels, the bad people. You see, because I was brainwashed into the us and them, and if somebody's not Muslim, they're not good, they're gonna go to hell. See, children, because you have a blank slate, is easy to brainwash, is easy to install malfunctioning programs, viruses into the system, right? So children are a lot easier to fool. So that's being childish. You don't want to be childish. You don't want to lack this discernment. You don't want to lack the wisdom of the world. But on the other hand, the inner child is very joyful, energetic. Children are balls of energy, energetic, joyful, present, curious, always looking at things as if you're looking at them for the first time because you're so present, you're so here in the now, not thinking about the past, not thinking about the future. Malleable, flexible, changeable, flowing with the Tao, flowing with the moment, easily letting go of things, not holding grudges, playful, right? Playful. Kids love to play. Adults forget how to play. So it's this delicate balance of embodying being your inner child while being an adult without being childish, without being easily fooled, without being childish, like crying over little things, being attached to little things. Like, I know I contradicted myself in this video. I said children do not attach very easily, but then I'm saying here they're attached. What I'm talking about here specifically is like, oh, I didn't get the candy, right? So there's this momentarily attachment to not getting the candy. or not getting what you want in the moment, right? Kids usually don't get what they want. They start shouting and screaming and this, and I guess it's not exactly a form of attachment. It's just a form of trying to get attention, because kids actually don't attach very much. They sort of let go. Oh, I didn't get the candy. The kid will cry for 2 minutes, 5 minutes, and then they'll move on. So it's more so getting attention. That's childish behavior. Trying to get attention, trying to get external attention, and so of course, as you can see, then children are interesting to observe in that way, because we were all children at some point, and they teach you how to be. It's almost like you're relearning how to be a child again, but without being childish. You see, that being lacking discernment, without lacking wisdom, and of course, another thing, in regards to children having all this endless energy, the reason why as adults we don't have that endless energy anymore is because of all the mental and physical obstructions that we go through life accumulating. So the physical obstructions would mostly be heavy metals and toxins from vaccines. Most of us have been vaccinated so many times as kids. I saw my brother's vaccination record. I don't have mine, but he has his, and I pretty much got the same vaccines as him, and he has over 14 vaccines, I think 14 or 15 as a child. So that the food is a tremendous way in which physical toxins and heavy metals and obstructions are implanted into the physical body. So that takes away from that endless energy of a child as they grow older and older and older. And then of course the mental obstructions that you pick up, the traumas that you pick up, the emotional traumas, whether it be physical abuse, sexual abuse, or lack of love in your life, not having received love, or having a heartbreak, etc., etc., etc. So these obstructions take away from that endless childlike energy, and that's part of being the inner child, is reclaiming back that energy by removing the physical obstructions, by removing the mental obstructions, and becoming a clear conduit for the Tao, establishing back your connection to Source, because children are very connected to Source in that way. A lot of the things for children also apply to animals, but that's for a different video, because animals do the same thing. They're naive, but they're in harmony with the way, they're in harmony with the Tao, but they're naive also, right? And the hero's journey is about going through your adventure, the call to adventure, coming back as a wise child, really, as a wise child. And that's kind of what we're all trying to do here, is going back to that becoming that wise child again. So anyway, hopefully you enjoyed this philosophical rant, and I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to the Patreons, to the people who donate on PayPal, the one-time donations. You guys are all lovely, amazing, incredible people. I love you. I appreciate you so much. If you would like to donate, if you want to be a patron for $2 a month, I have the link for Patreon down below. Or if you just want to send one-time donations, also the link for PayPal is in the description. I love you guys, and until next time, may the Force be with you.